Raven, welcome to Balanced Black Girl.
Thank you for having me.
I am so honored to have you because I know you don't do a lot of podcasts. You haven't in a little while. Yeah. And so just the fact that you're like willing to be here, I'm so honored.
No, thank you. This was my idea. I'm so excited to get back into it. And I feel like this is the perfect kind of coming together. I feel like anytime we do anything together, people are like, oh my God, you know her. Like, yes.
The girls get excited.
Yes.
For sure. They get very excited. Well, I know you are definitely a very highly requested guest on our end too. So people are so excited that you're here.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I'm glad. I don't even know what we're going to talk about. So.
Oh, it's chill. It'll be super chill. I want to talk more about you outside of the context that people know you from, because a lot of people met you on Love is Blind. Even on the past, when you did more podcasts, it was closer to the show. And so that's mainly what you would talk about. But there's also so much more to you outside of that experience, as well as your love life. Like, you're a whole person. I know. You heard it here first. Yeah. A whole person. And so I would love to get more into that and also more into your relationship with wellness, because I think something that you have done really well coming out of reality TV is you've actually pivoted and built a really beautiful platform that isn't centered on like mess that I think a lot of people do after that experience, because it's easy to continue that. So first off, I want to know more about your wellness journey, how you were introduced to wellness, and how your relationship with it's changed over time.
Oh, yes. Let's unpack that. Oh my gosh. So I was first introduced to wellness, I guess, through dance. I started off with dance very, very early on. Like, you know, I feel like all of us went to like those like little dance schools, like whatever, but I was in there. And from an early age, I was like, I love it. I'm obsessed. I want to do it, period. And so my mom kind of really went along with it. And as I started getting more serious, like it was literally all I did. Like I ate, slept, breathe. Like I did not do anything else but study classical dance and like kind of sort of go to school. Like
was it like ballet? What form?
Yeah. Okay. So I did classical ballet, modern dance, and then in my professional career I did contemporary, like basically just a blend of the two. So growing up, I immediately, like even my friends from middle school and high school remembered, like I was so into all of the things of being well in order to dance better and further my career. Like my mom really let me be in charge of like packing my own lunch at a very early age, which is like so risky. But I was like seeds, nuts, like I was so into it. And that was just like my own thing. No one told me how to do that. I'm from New Orleans. Like it is not healthy there. That is not a thing. I just loved it. And so as I grew in my professional dance career, obviously like I was introduced to Pilates, yoga, and I really fell in love with both of those. And as whatever technology, internet, I started doing my own research and I kind of just kept cultivating that. I went to college for dance and then I started teaching Pilates and I kind of transitioned into it full time. Once I lived back in Dallas. And yeah, like ever since an early age, I think I really have to express myself physically. Like that is really a thing for me. And so Pilates kind of became that as well.
Yeah. So it's like you've always had some sort of outlet through movement.
Yes.
That's helped you or been important to you.
Very much so.
Definitely.
Yes, I have to get the zoomies out.
Yeah. We've seen a little bit of that.
Yeah, no, oh my God. No, for real. Like I literally have to get the zoomies out. Like jumping jacks. Yes, 100%. I have to walk in a circle. I don't care. Like it's got to come out.
Yeah. Yeah. And with that, I think dance is such a beautiful form of movement for a lot of people. And I think for people who identify as dancers, it is such a big part of your life. Mm-hmm. Do you also think that dance can not do more harm than good? But I also think growing up in a dance environment can also be really hard for girls when it comes to body image or once you hit puberty. Did you experience that?
Oh my gosh, yes. I think that still is something that I'm dealing with and like one of the most defining parts of my journey. 100%. Yeah. I think for me, everyone in dance kind of has their own niche, right? Like you might be like a powerful dancer and be super strong, or you might like be really flexible, have great extension, or be really technical, whatever. And my thing was like, I was the perfect height, I was the perfect size, and like I had the perfect dance body. That was always my thing. Like Raven has the best dance body. And I really internalized that. Like I was like, oh my gosh, like I have this dance body. I have to make sure it's always this way, blah, blah, blah. I have long legs, long arms, I'm flexible. And as I got older and saw that that kept perpetuating itself in every kind of dance environment I went to, it kind of, as it got more competitive, as I got older, it turned into more of a thing. And I mean, that was my only environment for like 20 years. So I didn't know anything different. Like I was surviving off of Red Bull and an apple. And I was like, this is great. You know, especially in college, like I didn't really have money to eat healthy either. Yeah. So there just weren't a lot of options. And so transitioning out of dance and starting to become friends with people outside of that even, and seeing how like regular people lived and getting more into the health and wellness and Pilates space, I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize how truly kind of disordered my eating was, and how I just had this body image centered around having the perfect body that had to look this one way. And it's still definitely something that I struggle with. I think back and I'm like, okay, like I am proud of where I've gotten to now. Even like sharing some things on social media. But it's such a journey coming out of that. And dance is such a beautiful place. It taught me so much discipline. I'm still best friends with the girls I danced with, like when I was super young. It taught me so many amazing life lessons, but it can definitely, you know, you can come out with some other things too.
For sure. And especially when you do that so young, those are your formative years. That's like what your brain is developing around, that even when you're older, you now see, okay, that's not great. It still is a lot of work to undo those patterns if that's what you've been taught.
Yeah.
Are there daily things that you still have to do to like remind yourself to be centered in what you know now is healthier?
Yeah. I think I try to use the information that I have now, not as a way to, because my brain will go back to, oh, you're making excuses. And I'm like, no, I'm living in the body I have now with what my life is now. So for instance, like I'll eat something that I know I shouldn't eat and have a moment. I'm like, I don't have to punish myself with 3 hours of a workout because I ate that thing. I can either have discipline in the moment and maybe eat half of it, you know, because I'm still gonna eat it, period. Or I can say, okay, that was a moment and we're moving on. I feel like so many of us, even outside of like whatever your dance experience was, or so many of us just fixate on that one moment. Oh, I ate that. Oh, I didn't get that workout yesterday. And it's like, you're allowed to move on. You literally have free will to forget about it because the moment has passed. So just make a better decision in your next decision. So that's kind of the mind frame that I've been in the past few years. It's like, just make a better decision next time. It's not the end of the world. That one workout, that one ice cream sandwich.
I did just see the TikTok about the ice cream sandwich.
Oh, my TikTok. They're so good.
They looked really good.
No, they're actually so good. And I'm so glad so many other people said, like, yes, I've experienced this. You know, get over it. You ate that ice cream sandwich. It nourished your body in that moment. And no one else is thinking about it but you.
For sure.
Yeah.
Like, enjoy it. And then we can move on to the next thing.
We can move on. Yeah. We have free will. You don't have to think about it all day.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think that also resonates even for people who may not have a dance background, but for girlies who were interested in fitness in like the 2010s. 2010s Instagram fitness culture was
instant.
Also not great. I mean, it was just a lot of like restriction, clean this, clean that, burpee this, hit that. That just, I feel like I'm still undoing some of what I did in the last decade and thought patterns that I had around it. And similar to what you said, I had an experience where it was like, my relationship with food wasn't great, exercise wasn't great, and I had lived alone at the time, and I was really isolated, and then I ended up moving in with a friend of mine from college, and we became roommates, and she had a very, like, normal, healthy relationship with food, and then I also had a boyfriend at the time, and he had, like, a normal, healthy relationship with food, and by just hanging out with them, it helped me because I could see like, oh, okay, maybe what I'm doing is not great. And if I would be embarrassed for them to see it, I don't live alone anymore. I'm not alone all the time anymore. If I wouldn't want them to see it, I probably shouldn't be doing it.
Yep.
And it helped. It was really healing.
Yes. I actually really agree with that. If I'm embarrassed by it to do it by myself, that's probably an issue. And it goes both ways, you know? If you're embarrassed because you're eating 2 ice cream sandwiches, then maybe just eat one, you know? But also, like, yeah, the restrictive. I remember there was a time I would be in my house at like midnight because I've also lived alone for so long. I'd be in my house like with ankle weights on, just like doing exercises, watching TV, this was really bad for me. All those shows like Biggest Loser, that was in that same time frame. Or even Revenge Body.
Yes,
Remember,
I
like
hated those.
Yes, and I would
So
work
bad.
out to them.
Oh my
I'd
God.
watch it and work out to it. And I was like, this is motivation. And like, how weird is that?
But a lot of that too, the fitness culture was very like screamy. I mean, I just remember Jillian Michaels screaming at people, and she was super popular and super famous and the voice of fitness for a long time in the 2000s. And that was the culture of it. And I think that that is what has turned so many people off. And it's also refreshing to see that it's now a much more positive space. Like that wouldn't fly. I think she's long since been canceled, but for a long time she wasn't. And that did a number on all of us, especially those of us who were really young during that time.
Exactly.
So let's get into Pilates, because you did mention when you were introduced to Pilates and yoga. I want to get detailed, if you remember. Also, sometimes it's hard to remember because I don't be remembering what I had for breakfast. But I would love to hear about your very first Pilates experience, if you remember it. Like, was it a class that you took? Was it an event? What happened, you know, your first time on a mat or a reformer? Did you immediately love it? Did you hate it? Tell us like every detail.
Oh my God. I hated it. I hated my first Pilates class. It was actually, I had done it a few times, and I had had a teacher. I had like a mentor in dance. She actually was from New York, and she would come to New Orleans every summer. And I think she was getting her Pilates certification. And this was also like in the 2010s when Pilates was blowing up in South America, Latin America. It was huge. They were like the leading Pilates people, and she was also Latin, and so she was teaching me like all of this like crazy Pilates stuff, and I was like, okay, I really like this, and I could feel a difference in my body in dance. And then I went to college, and we had to take Pilates like as a course for dance. I literally slept every single time. I slept on that mat. It was like at 8 o'clock in the morning on like a Thursday. Like the poor teacher would have to call me like, Raven, are you coming to class? And I'd be like, absolutely not. Like, please just give me a B. Like, I don't care. So my experience was definitely like hot and cold. I knew I liked some of it, but I was like, And YouTube was kind of becoming a thing. So I was like, maybe I'll try like floor bar. I know I'm not like all the way sold, but I like some parts of it. And then one summer during college, again, because I was so like into cross training for dance and health for dance, I was like, oh, after literally dancing all day from like 8 to 5, I would then go like take workout classes after. Insane, right? And I was like, I'm gonna go try this Pilates class, and my girlfriends from dance came with us. And this was also during like screamy teacher time. And it was this like little teacher. She was so scary. And she just taught the craziest, hardest class. Like it was so hard and so good. I loved it. I was like, okay, this is what I like. Like, and it was on the reformer, and that changed it for me. And ever since then, I was like, okay, I'm spending all of my money. Like I had no money in college. I don't know how I afforded to like go to a Pilates studio. I really don't.
Find a way.
Yeah, I literally found a way. Like I must have been hustling.
Fall can be so busy, and staying on top of your workouts can feel impossible. But with Alum Moves, working out while on the go is absolutely possible. Alum Moves is a health and wellness app that helps me keep up with my wellness routine wherever I am. From beginner to advanced, Alum Moves has the flow or class that will fit your schedule. Their classes range from 5 minutes to an hour, so if I am on the move or at home, I can always take time for my wellness routine. It seriously has everything. There's yoga, Pilates, strength workouts, meditations, sound baths, nutrition tips, self-care tutorials, and so much more. Alum Moves is an award-winning app for a reason. Whether you want to start a guided program, try a new style of workout, or just stay on track with your wellness goals while on the go, Alum Moves has it all. And with over 100 new classes every month, Alum Moves keeps me hooked and motivated. It's like a constant stream of fresh vibes for my wellness journey. I love hopping on Alum Moves to take a yoga or Pilates class when I'm looking for gentle movement or when I'm traveling. Stay on top of your wellness routine no matter where you go. Sign up for Alum Moves today. Join alummoves.com and use the code BALANCE30 for an exclusive 30-day free trial, plus enjoy 20% off an annual membership. That's alummoves.com, code BALANCED30 for a 30-day free trial and 20% off an annual membership. alummoves.com, code BALANCED30. Taking care of your skin is so much more than what you put on it. What you put in your body matters too, especially for healthy collagen production. And that's because after the age of 21, you start losing 1% of your collagen every year, which contributes to the changes you see in your skin. Collagen is important because it gives natural support and firmness to the skin on your face, so we want all the help we can get maintaining our collagen. BioCell helps you generate your own collagen and protect the collagen you already have. Backed by over 30 years of research, BioCell is clinically proven to work for healthier hair, skin, and nails. It's been shown to increase skin elasticity by 89% and decrease the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles by 30%. And since I started taking it, I've noticed such an improvement in the health, appearance, and just bounce back of my skin. BioCell is also vegan, it's GMO-free, and it's safe for those who are pregnant or breastfeeding. And if you do currently take a collagen supplement like collagen peptides, it also pairs really well with that. Get 30% off your first product order on BioCell's website with the code BALANCEDLESS. Again, that's code BALANCEDLESS for 30% off your first product order or subscription exclusively on biocell.beauty. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases. You probably know how important staying hydrated is, but did you know that drinking plain water often isn't enough to hydrate you? To stay hydrated, you need to replenish the electrolytes you lose through sweat, and my favorite way to get my electrolytes in is with Element. Element is a zero-sugar electrolyte drink mix with enough sodium, potassium, and magnesium to help you feel and perform your best. An Element is really for anyone on a mission to restore health through hydration. The right balance of electrolytes can help you maintain steady energy, improve cognitive function, digestion, sleep, skin health, and help alleviate things like headaches and muscle cramps. That's why Element was formulated with a science-backed ratio of electrolytes without sugar or other dodgy ingredients. And so many electrolyte mixed drinks on the market have tons of sugar, which kind of defeats the whole point. I love the watermelon salt, the raspberry salt, and the citrus salt, but you really can't go wrong with any flavor. I add a packet to my water bottle every day, or I'll have a can of Element Sparkling if I'm on the go, and it makes such a difference in how I feel. You can try Element totally risk-free. If you don't like it, they'll refund your order, no questions asked. Get your free Element sample pack with any purchase at drinkelement.com/balanceless. That's DRINKLMNT.com/balanceless. Also, make sure you try the new Element Sparkling, a bold 16-ounce can of sparkling electrolyte water.
But yeah, ever since I went to the studio in New Orleans and I had the right teacher, it was the right environment, it clicked for me. So yeah.
And what was it, do you think, that made it click for you in that moment?
Honestly, I think a big part of it had to do with it being like the right instructor, which I think is important for everyone and we kind of take for granted, especially with like these larger classes and stuff. But she was a great instructor and she could really look at you and adjust for your body and your needs, even in a group setting. And I was like, that really spoke to me. And I felt the difference because taking these other classes, I was like, oh, this is hokey pokey. Like, because I didn't have anyone saying, try it this way because I see your body is XYZ. And ever since then, it's funny now that I said that out loud because that's literally how I teach. So yeah, I think having the right instructor really made Pilates click for me.
It makes all the difference. And the qualities that you just named are just the qualities of the best instructors, people who can modify for all bodies, who can meet anybody in the class where they're at and help each person have a custom experience for any format, whether it's like Pilates, yoga, strength training, whatever. That's the sign of a good teacher.
No, totally. Because I mean, all of these open classes, not everyone is coming with the same experience or same understanding of their bodies a lot of times. So it's hard and it takes a really good instructor to be able to call that out and keep a class going. So yeah, that really hit home for me.
Yeah. So when did you want to become a Pilates instructor?
Ooh, when did I want to become a Pilates instructor? Ooh, so I graduated from school. I was dancing. I think I'd like done a bar certification just like because I was like, oh, that's easy. Just do some plies, whatever. And they were like, you should like try a mat certification. And I was like, oh, like I really haven't even done any mat classes. Like I literally don't know what I'm doing. And so then I started taking some mat classes and I was like, okay, like maybe I'll do this. And they're like, we think you'd be really, really good. And so I was like, okay, I'll try it. I took the mat certification and I think the next weekend, the comprehensive, which is like all of the Pilates equipment, that certification was starting the next weekend. And I was like, should I do it? Like, I don't know. And I just did it. And
it's just history.
Yeah. And I loved it.
Yeah.
And I got good feedback from the people I was teaching. I felt such a difference in my body and my dancing. I was like, okay, yeah, I'm doing it.
In it.
Yeah.
This is going to sound like such a fitness nerd thing. I actually think certifications are the best. Like, I love the process of getting certified in something new. That's why I have so many, but I don't teach because I'm like, I don't like really teaching. I like to be the student and I love a safe space to learn about fitnessy stuff. I think it's the best.
No, I think it's the nerd in us because I love it too. And just recently, and I know you and I have like chatted about this, but I've been on my joy journey and I'm like, how can I connect that to Pilates? And I'm like, you know what I haven't done in a long time is, and everyone in fitness knows like your CEs, your continuing education. I'm like, that really does bring me joy. It's so fun. Like, and it's so like weird and uncomfortable and like going to school and you're with all these people you don't even know. And like, there's like 80-year-old grannies and like these like, it's just like such a fun experience, but you learn so much that you're able to apply to even if you're not teaching or not. And it just like refreshes your passion for it, So yes, 100%. I'm like, maybe I could like do a little trip and go do like a CE somewhere. So yeah. Right?
That's so nice. I had some friends who would do, go to like Costa Rica or something to do their yoga certification, and that always looked amazing.
Yes, agreed. My best friend went to Thailand, and I'm like, it's the flight for me.
Yeah.
but I want to. Yeah.
It sounds like an amazing experience. I'm also glad that you mentioned your joy journey because that was something else that I wanted to talk to you about. So for people who may not be familiar with you wanting to focus more on joy, because you said that you were a chronic no fun haver.
No, for real.
What does that mean?
Oh my gosh, a chronic no fun haver. Like anything I would do, I could tell like I was blocking myself from having fun. Unless it was something like really crazy, like going on vacation. Okay, yeah. But yeah, like I'd be not present thinking about like, oh my gosh, like after this I have to go home, do blah, 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 blah. I need to leave early. Just not focusing on the joyous aspect of it. And I think that a lot of us can lose that as we get older. Even in moments that are supposed to be fun, holidays, birthdays, XYZ. I'm like, oh no, whatever. I'm just gonna work and I really realized that, you know, I was lacking in joy and just purposely having fun. And I think it took my dad's passing recently to be like, time is very limited. We don't realize that. And I don't want it to run out and think, oh, I wish I would have had more fun. Because no one's saying, I wish I would have done that extra 3 hours of work at midnight. Like, no, I wish I would have spent present time with the people that I love doing something on purpose and having fun.
Definitely. Yeah. I think we get so wrapped up on kind of those big moments, kind of like you mentioned, travel, a vacation, the things that we may do once a year, but not adding those bits of joy into our daily lives, which we also deserve to feel that way every day, not just once a year.
I agree. Yeah. Even the little things every day. And I'm working on getting to like those minute details because this is a journey. But I think even for me, just like something like once a week or once a month, like maybe something a little bit bigger, where it's like, I put a lot of things off in the name of like work or just not having fun. I'm like, I actually want to do those things because when my time runs out, I want to be like, I didn't have that much left on my list, you know? So yeah, for me, I'm trying to get in my monthly and weekly and then work on those little things every day that aren't ice cream sandwiches.
That could be a bit of joy. What else is
no,
bringing you joy? No, they look honestly so good.
No, they are.
The cookie. Anyway, I need to get some.
What are things every day?
Yeah, some of the things that you're doing, maybe daily, weekly, monthly.
Yeah,
to get that joy.
I think there's so many things, like I said, that I've put off that I want to do. So actually making time for them. Like I've been saying that I want to wake up and like do sunrise on the Brooklyn Bridge. And I have not done it because I'm like, oh, I need to stay up and work tonight. And then I can't wake up at 6 a.m. Or I've been saying, I saw you did like walk Manhattan. I've been saying I really want to do that. Like that, things like that are so fun for me.
Yeah.
Experiences that I put off in the name of like, I have so many other things to do. So scheduling and making time for them.
I think sometimes it's almost overwhelming in a place like New York because there is so much that I tend to feel overwhelmed by all of the options. I'll look up, okay, what are some things that I can do this weekend? And then I'll see this huge list of events or pop-ups or things. And then I get overwhelmed and I don't go to any of them.
Yeah.
So that's hard. That's something I'm working on.
There are a lot of options. And I think it's all about actually making the effort to do it. And this thing is for nothing else but having fun. Like this is not for productivity. This is not, because I'm guilty of that. I'm like, oh, like I'll just go to this workout class. Like, no, girl, that was to work out. That wasn't to have fun because you didn't have fun.
Most of these classes are not that fun.
Not that fun. Like, no. And it was $50 and like it wasn't even great and whatever. So yeah. I saw on TikTok they have that trend of like your dopamine menu. Have you seen that?
I have. Yes.
I should probably work on that.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I will too. Okay, maybe we can swap dopamine menu ideas.
Yes. I feel like you're better at it than me. I feel like you find like cool co-working spaces and stuff like that. I need to do that.
I try. Yeah. I think honestly a lot of it was when I lived in LA, I was really, really isolated. And it was I don't think I realized how bad I felt really until I left. But now that I'm here, I'm like, okay, I don't want to get into a pattern like I had there where I just like never leave, never go anywhere, never talk to anyone. So I've forced myself to a little bit more,
Yeah.
but it's still hard.
And LA is such a social place. It's so interesting. And because I resonate with that with myself here. I like am so isolated. And people are like, what? You live in New York City? I'm like, yeah, like I know I pay a lot of rent to just like literally sit in my house. So it's interesting how you can do that in such social, beautiful places. It's really about you on the inside and not where you are.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, as I find things, I'll send them to you.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
See if you want to join, but also like never offended if not. Something else that I was talking to my friend about it this past weekend. I called them adult extracurriculars.
Yes.
Basically like the same way as a kid, it would be soccer season or dance or whatever. And we would have these like recurring classes or practice every week. I'm trying to find activities like that I know, okay, every week on Thursday, I go to dance class and it forces me to get out of the house. I also think that that's good for making friends because the repetition of seeing people over and over for like a 4-week class, or my friend really likes photography, so she's signing up for a photography class or voice lessons or whatever. Like just the repetition of knowing every week you're going to have this specific thing that you do for fun is also good.
Yes, I completely resonate with that. It's kind of helped me. In the past few months, I've been teaching a live class every Saturday at 10:30. And it really brings me so much joy, even though it's work. I always know it's coming. I'm looking forward to it. I can plan things around it. It's the same people. It's building community. I have something to talk about. I have a reason to show up. And I think that's especially hard with like kind of like with what we do, because there's really no like schedule to our jobs. So it can be hard. Like, I'm like, how do most creators exist? Like, you could literally wake up at whatever time. I'm like, are y'all okay? Like, it's hard for me not to have a schedule. And you have to create it yourself, you know? I don't know. It's hard. So I resonate with having a place to show up at a certain time every single week. I think that's great.
Yeah. Anything, whether it's like something at the I just joined a gym, so I'm trying to be consistent about like going to classes.
I saw that. I said, girl, that looks expensive. What
it is. I'm getting robbed. But I'm like, if it's expensive, I'll go.
You got it.
I'll go every day.
Every single day. You better try every class.
I'm gonna use every amenity. I'm gonna be in every class. I'm gonna be in the sauna. I'm gonna be in the pool. I'm gonna use every single one.
That's good though. I think I've been looking too. It's things like that, like having a place to be. With the same people. It's really about showing up and actually putting it on your calendar and doing it, because that is what I'm so guilty of. And I think I just let it really pass me by for years. And now I'm kind of coming to terms with that because of all of the things in my life. And I'm like, I have to put in the work to change it.
Definitely.
So, yeah.
I'm excited for you though, with this like new season of joy, hopping on the city bike, doing the things.
Yes. Yeah. I've been saying, I'm going to ride a city bike for so long and never did it. Because I was like, oh no, I'm in a rush. Oh no, today. No, just do it.
You did it.
It's literally hilarious. I think it's so funny. I don't even know why, but I think it's hilarious. It's kind of scary too. It's like a little adrenaline.
I get scared every time I do it.
No,
I want to feel more comfortable, but you did it. You literally used it as like a mode of transportation.
No, literally. And I have been. I'm like, oh, I need to run this little errand. Dee, 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 dee.
You're a real New Yorker.
Yeah, no, I am. And I'm so competitive. Like, I hate when people pass me. I'm like, absolutely not.
That's sounding very Aries.
Yes, right.
Wait, do you know the rest of your astrology?
No. And all the time people are like, what's your chart? What's your chart? And I'm like, I don't know. Help me.
Because I feel like you definitely have some water in there somewhere. I wouldn't be surprised if you're like a water moon.
What else is water? Aquarius.
Aquarius is air. Water is Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio.
Ooh. I love Cancers, so I'm hoping that it's Cancer.
I feel like there's some water in there somewhere.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is Virgo?
Virgo's Earth.
Earth. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not giving Earth.
She's not giving fire and water. Okay? It's like fire and water. Okay. It is like movement and feelings.
Yes.
Would be my very unprofessional guess.
No, I feel
assessment.
that. Yeah. And that's why I literally love Cancers. I'm like, they're so like creative and emotional, but like still cool. I'm like, ugh, I wish I was one.
Maybe it's your moon or something.
I'm just like a crazy Aries. It's like speeding down the road on a city.
Aries are fun though.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
Aries
yeah.
are like real fire. Like
Yes.
Leo is like fake fire.
Yeah. To me, Leo is like a little bit more like outgoing in a good way. You're Leo, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. It's like more outgoing and like friendlier, maybe. I don't know. Less like blunt.
Yeah, and Aries is like a Leo that
less
can
aggressive. Fight. Yes, exactly. Y'all are
Leo
like
is an Aries that can't fight.
Yes, like less aggressive. Yeah. That can't fight.
Like, that's the difference.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like we have the horns and y'all like
have the manes.
Exactly.
Stroke.
Y'all are cute.
So you're coming up on 1 year in New York.
Girl, I know.
How has that been? It's a big change from Dallas.
So big. I really did not realize it. And it has flown by. Like, it literally has flown by. I feel like I just moved in. Like, there's some things about my apartment. I'm like, oh, like, you know, like little things. She's like, oh, I'm going to get something for that. Or, oh, I'm going to reorg. Like, what? I literally just moved in. Like, yeah, it's hard. But I love New York. I really do. I feel like it definitely brings a new energy to your life. And it's so beautiful. But it is very different than Dallas. And in Dallas, I was isolated for a really long time too. I think I went through, when I was in Dallas, like a period of separation, where I really had to separate myself to grow. And so I was kind of coming out of that, moving here, big adjustment, just culturally, everything in my life.
And when you say a period of separation to grow, do you mean like separate yourself from people or from like your old lifestyle? Like what were you separating yourself from?
Yeah, I don't even know if it was intentional. I don't know. Some of it was intentional because I could just feel this calling of like, I've got to make changes. And this was even before Love is Blind. It started like really when I was about like 27. I noticed like my 2010 fitness, like I was kind of dealing with like, okay, where do I want to go in my life? Do I still believe all of these things from dance? Yada, yada, yada. So I think when I was 27 was really when I started like not drinking a lot of alcohol. I really started being I think I like went like a whole year without drinking. And then I did like a huge social media break. I really started being more intentional with my friendships, with my time. And yeah, that was kind of like the Kickstarter of it. But I really believe like they say like your period of separation is like your preparation. And it really prepared me, you know, to get to know myself, and be more confident in myself. Because then I did Love is Blind, still in kind of my period of separation. And after that, I was like, whew, I've got to prepare myself just for, I don't even know, because I don't even know what I just did.
I mean, yeah, that is such a big life-changing experience that there's no way your life is the same after that.
Yeah. And just like processing all of that.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I think looking back, it was really meant to be that I was called to do that probably like the year before. And then that happened. I really was already working so much on myself. And yeah, then I was like, let's move to New York. YOLO.
It really sounds like that time really planted a lot of the seeds for where you are now.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Yes. And now they're blooming.
Yeah, who would have thought?
Yeah.
I never would have thought I would be here. Crazy.
It's kind of funny how like life works out that way though.
Mhm.
I think sometimes we get so set on these plans and sometimes you can follow through with the plan and then be like, "Oh, actually I don't want this anymore," or "I don't like this," or "This isn't what I thought," or you can do something totally different and be like, "I never thought I would do this, but I'm learning a lot or I'm gaining a lot."
Yeah.
And allowing flexibility
Mhm.
is really important.
I think so too, and I think especially as women, at least for me, being someone like who's hyper independent, you know, spends a lot of time alone, like I really had trouble changing my mind. But it actually is so valuable to be able to change your mind and move. It's okay to do that. It's okay to change. Um and I once you start doing it and getting comfortable with it, which I think is like probably another Aries thing, we're like, bye. Like I'm able to just pivot. Um so it's interesting once you kind of do that in life, you kind of see how it is hard for a lot of other people, especially, older generations, obviously people in your family, XYZ. But I notice for women, it's hard for us to allow ourselves to like change our minds, you know? So yeah, I do it all the time now.
And to have so much freedom in that, because I
Mhm.
think so many things that we thought before were bad, even the idea of like hyper independence, I'm
Mhm.
beginning to rethink. And it's like, are we hyper independent or do we just have the freedom to do a lot of things and have a lot more flexibility that like women in our family never got to do? No woman in my family ever got to just pick up and live in New York City because she wanted to.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
And
For me, my hyper independence, I was always like, oh, I'm going to be such an independent woman. Like, I don't need a man. Like, if I ever like had a man, it would just be like, we could live separate. Like, I am just all about my grinds, like go, go, go. And I'd always been that way. And that's really because like I didn't realize that's kind of how it happened for all the women in my family. And so I had never seen another possibility. And I'm like, is it really hyper independence or is it my circumstance and the only thing that I know? And I think now being maturing, getting to know myself, getting to know my values, what I really, 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 really want. And that was a big part of my separation period, was defining my values and what I wanted. Hashtag Sierra's prayer. LOL. I always think about that.
God, I just snorted so loud. I haven't thought about Sierra's prayer. I just remember just the days on Instagram of everybody begging Sierra for the prayer.
No,
Oh,
it was
man.
actually hilarious.
What a time.
What a time to be on Instagram. But once I really defined my values, I was like, wait, I don't think I actually want to be grinding all my life. Like, what is the Nipsey Hussle?
Yeah.
I don't think I actually want that. I think I actually really want partnership. And I really want to find someone who's a leader. And you can't, if I want a leader, that means I want to be led, and I can't be hyper independent. Like, you can't lead someone who just does their own thing all the time. So yeah, I really learned that about myself. And I'm like, maybe it's not what I thought. Maybe it was just like my trauma.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's like continuous unlearning too, because
Mhm.
even when you have that realization, I mean, you probably still have moments where like that hyper independence kicks in a little and then it's like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Okay. Not going to do this.
No, all the time. I'll just be go, 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 go. And then I'll be like, oh my gosh, like, wait. Like, I literally have a serious boyfriend. Like, I can't like just change my mind and pack up and move. Like, am I doing everything that's sticking to my values and what I really want? And that really helps me clarify a lot of things. So yeah.
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 I love that. I think that's an important part of maturing. So many of us hold on to things from when we're a lot younger, and then we wonder why we don't have what we want. It's like, oh, because our actions are not in alignment.
Yes. And that's the hardest thing is you can have all of these things that you want, and you can even define your values and say, oh, I'm going to do XYZ, but actually changing your actions is so hard.
It's a daily ongoing battle.
An ongoing, but it's also crazy. The second you change your actions, like you get results immediately.
Yeah.
So it's really this battle between like, it's so hard to do it. But then if you literally just do it once, like half of your problems are solved.
Oh my gosh. And that, I feel like that applies to everything. I always laugh when I see those posts like on TikTok or something where they're like, I regret to inform that, you know, the wellness girlies are right. Like going to bed earlier does make waking up easier. Or like, unfortunately, I went to the gym and I do feel better. Like these things that like we hate that they're true, but they're still true.
No, literally. I feel that. I see those posts all the time. It's like, yes, I hate to inform you that like waking up and getting sunlight and like drinking water like actually does make your life better.
It does. I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry. And I hate to admit it. Like, yes, they were right. I resonate with that because for the longest time, I think you and I even talked about it. Like, I thought I was so well. Like, girl was chugging so much caffeine. It was crazy. Like, I would wake up, have pre-workout immediately, like 4 a.m., then have coffee at like 8 a.m., then like have a 5-hour energy at like 7 p.m. Like I was drinking so much caffeine, right?
Yeah.
It was wild. It was a time to be alive.
And when you're young too, I feel like when you're like in your 20s, you can kind of get away with that a little bit more. And then you hit like your late 20s and your body's like, no ma'am.
Your body's like, oh my gosh. And it's just like those posts you were saying, like, I really hate to say it, but like waking up and getting sunlight and like just dry brushing, it wakes me up just as much. And now I can prolong my caffeine and like just have 1 cup, you know, versus like 20,000. Like, dang, it really was so much easier. I just had to make the action to change it.
Yeah. And sometimes like shifting from wanting things instantly, like that instant energy, that instant, because we're also not meant to have energy all the time. Like, we get tired for a reason. We actually need to be tired.
Yeah.
And like, it's very important to feel all of those things.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely go through seasons of like sometimes needing more sleep, sometimes needing less. Like right now, I'm definitely in my 8 hours. Like if it's 7:25, like 7 hours and 20, that's not enough. Like I need my 8 hours right now. But there's sometimes when I'm like 6.5, I'm like, good. But yeah, listening to your body, making the decision and actually acting on that, it's so hard, but you get results immediately.
It's true.
Yeah,
it's true. Okay, this is so good. I also want to incorporate questions from the audience.
Yes.
I opened it up to the audience. Ooh. And they asked some really good questions that I would love. This first one I think is more so just funny. Someone said, can she come to my house and physically make me work out? I love peer pressure.
Not peer pressure.
Do you make house calls?
Yes, literally. Get on your Zoom.
Sometimes we need that.
No, we do need peer pressure all the time. Sometimes I'll like have one of my friends, I'll be like, okay, call me at 3:00. And if I haven't worked out, you like literally need to force me. Like, or if I haven't done XYZ, like you need to force me. So yeah, peer pressure works. Accountability works.
It does.
Sometimes like I have to book that class. Yep. So I don't cancel it.
Exactly.
You know?
Lose money and.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. This next one is a great question. How can I prepare if it's my first time doing Pilates? Kind of scared.
Oh, how can you prepare? I think the best way is trying something at home, you know? So you're not going to a class and like completely lost and wasting your money in case you hate it. Take your time and obviously go on YouTube, try my classes. But there are some great instructors on YouTube as well, and just try some things out because it's so similar in a studio and at home. But I think that's the best way to prepare before you make the leap of time and investment in an in-person class, because those are great too. But try it at home first. See how your body feels.
Yeah, that's great advice. Also, so that people can be familiar with the terms and the moves,
Exactly.
so that if the instructor yells out, do this, you
Mhm.
know what they're talking about.
Exactly. I feel like so many times we all go, it's like that first new workout class, and you're like,
They're speaking another
they're
language.
literally speaking in another language. So yeah, try it at home first.
Yeah, good advice. Someone said if you're starting to think about your fall and holiday baking and you're looking for recipe inspo, Philadelphia cream cheese would be an amazing ingredient to inspire your comfort cooking. Philadelphia makes my favorite cream cheese. It's super creamy, it tastes amazing, and it is versatile enough to add to a variety of recipes and dishes. So, as much as we love it with our bagels, I really encourage you to think beyond the bagel because it really makes everything it touches creamy and delicious. There's so many different varieties of Philadelphia cream cheese, but the original Philadelphia cream cheese is my go-to. I love it in sweet recipes and savory recipes and in things as simple as dipping veggies in it. I also love putting it in more fancy recipes, sandwiches, sauces. I mean, the possibilities with Philadelphia cream cheese are truly endless. But this time of year, I am all about comfort and cozy foods. And I also really love baking. And cream cheese is amazing in so many desserts and sweet treats. Now, on Philadelphia Cream Cheese's website, they have so many amazing recipes to inspire you this season. I cannot wait to make the pumpkin cheesecake and the caramel apple dip. Nothing says fall like those foods. Philadelphia makes everything creamier. Visit creamcheese.com for recipe inspiration and to purchase Philadelphia cream cheese so you can start adding it to your recipes at home. Shifting my wardrobe from summer to fall is always a challenge. One minute it's hot, then it's cold. It's hard to know what to wear or how many layers to put on. But luckily, Quince offers timeless and high quality items that I adore, ensuring my wardrobe stays fresh and that I don't blow my budget. The older I get, the more I really want high quality items made from natural fibers that are going to stand the test of time without breaking the bank, like cashmere sweaters from $50, pants for every occasion, washable silk tops, and so much more. The best part is all Quince items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. By partnering directly with top factories, Quince cuts out the cost of the middleman and passes the savings on to us. And Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices and premium fabrics and finishes, which is really important to me as a consumer. So many of my everyday staples that I wear and use come from Quince, like my favorite cashmere sweaters, my leather tote bag, my silk skirts are all a regular part of my wardrobe and they all came from Quince. In my cart for fall, I currently have a silk slip dress, I have bodysuits, and gold jewelry pieces. Make switching seasons a breeze with Quince's high-quality closet essentials. Go to quince.com/balanceless for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/balanceless to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/balanceless. Is Pilates enough strength training or should I still lift?
Ooh, that's a great question. I Now that I'm aging, I'm sure you're like on this. I think we've even talked about this, but um, especially for women, it really depends on where you are in your life, I feel. Um, Pilates is great resistance training, especially for people who are dealing with like bone density issues or trying to keep their bone density. Um, but I do both. In this stage of life, I literally do both. I always say Pilates is for my old lady body. Like, I lift now because I want to feel strong. I like the feeling of it. I like the challenge. But I do Pilates for my forever body because I know, like, whatever, there's going to be a point where it's A, I'm not going to have time to lift, or B, you know, it's going to be too much. I'm going to want to change how I work out. And I know I can always come back to it. And it's still a great form of resistance, especially if you're doing it in a studio with equipment, with springs. So yeah, I combine the two because I love the feeling of both and they're so complementary, but both are technically resistance training.
Yeah, great answer. Love both. How do you maintain a consistent workout schedule while also seeing friends?
Do it with your friend, honestly. I think going back to my period of separation, a big thing for me was how do I keep friends but not go out, not drink, not party, because I was just not into it anymore. And that was one of the first ways I would go to workout classes with friends, say, hey, do you want to both book Monday, blah, 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 or go on a walk. Let's wake up this Saturday, go walk, blah, blah, blah. And that's something I've always kept. And now that's my favorite thing to do with friends. Let's go on a walk. Let's go here and then we'll walk there. Or go to a class, whatever it might be. Or even if y'all join the same gym, it's a great way to connect with friends. I love it.
Yeah, for sure. Like working out and being social don't have to be mutually exclusive.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know people get sick of hanging out with me because you gonna be walking.
No, we finna walk. No, we literally finna walk and stop and get a coffee shop.
Yes, absolutely. Every time. This next person says advice for pushing through goals when life gets very challenging.
Pushing through goals when life gets, oh my gosh, it's hard. Oh, that one's heavy on my heart. Yeah, pushing through to me when life is challenging. Yeah, I'm definitely in a period of a challenging life right now. And how am I meeting my goals? I write everything down. Because it's an organized way to have a record. You can literally go back and see blah, 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 blah. But I try to, we all have these large goals, whatever. But when life gets harder, you're less organized, you're less on top of things, just bring it in, make it tighter. Maybe, you're not going to have the bandwidth this week. Maybe there's just 3 things. And I always break down, whether it's like weekly, monthly, I break down my goals into like personal, work, and like long term. So maybe you just have one goal for each this week, and that's fine. You don't have to have 4 or 5. Maybe like your one personal goal this week is to like call your mom. Just bring it in because your main goal should be taking care of yourself.
Yeah, for sure. Like those are just the seasons where like pushing through, it's just probably not a good time for that.
Exactly. Yeah. I think I saw this quote. It's like, there's nothing in nature that blooms all year. There really isn't. So why would you be any different? You can't be on 24/7. And like, as a business owner, I have to tell myself that like, I cannot be on all the time. So yeah, bring it in.
For sure. Okay, this is the last kind of fitness related question because I broke it up into 3 categories. So that was fitness, then we have life, then we have work.
I love that.
Last fitness question. Is Pilates a good exercise for healing pelvic floor after having a baby?
Oh, yes. Yes. I ain't got no kids, but I even feel a difference when I'm consistent with Pilates. I feel a huge difference in my pelvic floor. And before I transitioned into like virtual, I worked in a studio forever. So I worked with so many people who really were referred to us because they were coming back after pregnancy or even during pregnancy. Pilates is a great way to just tap into your deep core muscles, especially for women, because core is not just abs, right? It's literally wrapped around your whole upper body. So we need to strengthen the entire unit is what we say in Pilates. So yeah, I think it's one of the best, safest ways and most efficient ways
Definitely. Pilates usually to me almost feels more like physical therapy than like a
Mm-hmm.
workout a lot of times,
Yes.
especially reformer and more kind of classic.
Yes.
It feels like rehab. It's
Mm-hmm.
so healing.
It really is so healing. And I think it really builds that connection from your mind to your small muscles that if you don't practice, you don't have it. And that's also, I feel like, a big part of tapping back into your pelvic floor. You can't be like we said, like doing burpees and box jumps and be like, yeah, I feel my pelvic floor. Like, it's not going to work. It's not going to happen. You really need to do something controlled and slow where you're feeling your mind body connection.
Absolutely. Okay, next category is life. Life questions. What's your biggest lesson from being on Love is Blind?
Ooh, my biggest lesson from being on Love is Blind. I think Love is Blind taught me a lot about what confidence means. Because I always struggled with confidence. Just like from dance, constantly comparing. I always struggled with confidence. And immediately when Love is Blind came out, I was like, oh my gosh, like people might actually hate me. And it really gave me the chance to be like, okay, let's think about what really matters to you and like why are you actually a good person, and what just it helped me build my confidence. And that was the biggest lesson, because now, and going back to like the whole dance and body image thing, like my 27-year-old self, like my pre-Love is Blind self, like could never have gotten on the internet and been like, yeah, I moved to New York and gained 15 pounds. Like could never like post about an ice cream sandwich or like just whatever, you know. I felt like I had to be so buttoned up and maintain this image of perfection when no one was even looking at me. Like, and so yeah, it taught me a great lesson on being myself and just being confident. I think that has hopefully shown through in how I show up.
Yeah. It's a big way to be seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Someone else asked, what are your non-negotiables for dating?
Ooh, non-negotiables. Oh.
And I'm assuming they mean maybe like qualities in somebody you would date, like qualities that.
Yeah. Ooh. If I was dating now, my non-negotiables. Ooh. It just makes me think about going back to like my values. And my values, especially like in partnership. Like my non-negotiables are like being able to have honest conversations and truly have good communication. Because I think that really sets the groundwork. Someone who, to even know if you're on the same page. A non-negotiable for me would be someone who has already developed their own values. Because a lot of people don't know. You'll be like, oh, like, what are some of your values? Like, oh, what? I mean, a lot of people just
Vibes.
be like, you know, vibes. A lot of people just be like, oh, family. Like, you know, like I feel like that, but it goes so much deeper than that. So I think my top non-negotiable would be someone who has strong values, whatever that means to them. They have something that they're living by. Like one of my values, and this is probably another non-negotiable for me, but one of my values is health and wellness. Like that is in my top 3. So my partner needs to know that I'm going to value that. I'm going to prioritize exercise. I'm going to prioritize eating healthy. And obviously I want a partner who does that as well. So yeah, does that make sense?
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think values is a good one. Like people knowing who they are, what their values are. And then you can see, is this aligned? Is it not? But people need to know who they are first.
Exactly. So then like I know my partner, one of his top values is integrity. So I know that I need to do what I say. And say what I'm going to do and literally do it because he operates with integrity. And one of his is family. So I know that his family is super important to him and this is infused into his daily life. And so I need to, ask him questions about it, incorporate it into my life, be interested. So really knowing your own values and the values of the other person is so important.
For sure. Yeah. Love that. Someone else asked, how did you two become friends?
You came to my class.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, girl, your hair is so nice. You are so cute.
Pretty much, yeah.
No, literally.
We had both like moved to New York around the same time.
Yes.
And yeah, I saw you had posted about teaching a class and I was like, oh, that looks fun. Like I need to work out because I definitely wasn't really working out much when I first got here. And then then we met.
And I was like, hi.
Yeah. It was great.
Yeah. Yeah. I think finding people who are in the same like position as you and being a little bit vulnerable because I feel like that's always a topic. Like, how do you make friends? It's a good way to do it. Yeah. We have similar interests.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Events and spaces where things that you're interested in are happening, you're going to meet other people who are also interested in those things.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then last life question, how have you adjusted to living in a brand new city in your 30s?
Oof. How have I adjusted? Oh, it's hard.
Yeah. It's like an ongoing process.
It's an ongoing thing. But I think it goes back to like intentionally having fun and trying new things and being in a place where that's easy to do. It's a lot easier. But yeah, adjusting, it's an ongoing process. Some days I'm like, oh, this was so inconvenient. I wish I had a car or I wish, but then other days I'm like, wow, like it's so inspiring to live here. Like just so beautiful. So yeah, it's different every day.
For sure, especially here.
Yeah.
I think having moved cities a couple of times, I've found that I think people sometimes have a hard time adjusting to new environments when they expect every environment to conform to whatever their comfort zone is. And no city or place has an obligation to be what you're comfortable with. You kind of just have to go to the place and experience it for what it is instead of having expectations of how you feel it should be. And I think when I lived in LA, that was a mistake I made, was kind of having expectations and then being disappointed when it didn't meet that.
Okay.
Versus here, I haven't really had any expectations. I'm like, this city is going to be what it's going to be. Because it's already a crazy place. And I can choose how I want to experience it.
Exactly.
And that mindset has been helpful.
I think you said it perfectly. Choosing what your experience is going to be. I moved to New York knowing like I'm doing this because I want to grow my business. I want to have more opportunities. So I didn't necessarily come with like, I'm going to be so social and meet all these friends and be a New York socialite, and that set my expectations. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, having an intention too.
Exactly.
Is really important. Last question. I actually love that you talked about your business because that is the last question, which is work-related. Tips on growing a wellness or fitness brand.
Ooh, yeah. This is always something like I feel like I need to talk about more. Tips for growing.
I'm still waiting for your organizational content too.
I know. I need to do that. Like organizational content is also just so not Aries. I feel like because we're like, but I feel like tips for growing any brand, but especially health and wellness. Again, in my season of separation, I was looking everything up, like strategies. Like I was really learning for no reason. Like I was just literally for no reason because I had like maybe 400 followers. But niche down, You don't have to appeal to everyone. And I feel like especially nowadays, like people will try one strategy like, oh, that didn't work, or oh, like that branding campaign wasn't great, or oh, that video didn't perform well. I'm going to try something new. And it's like, if you set your intention and you know who you're talking to, it will find those people. You will find them. So instead of, once people started to find my videos, and instead of trying to appeal to everyone, I purposely was like, I'm going to talk to the people that I want to find, who were pretty much people like me, pretty much other women around the same age, usually other women of color. So yeah, don't be afraid to shrink down your audience, because there's so many other people just like you. So I promise you will find the people you need to find to build your brand. You don't have to appeal to every single person, because you're going to get lost in the sauce.
Such good advice, because then it's like the people that you're targeting know that it's for them.
Exactly.
And it resonates way deeper.
Agreed. They're more likely to be loyal to you, and they see you're similar. So then instead of just whatever passing by, they're gonna maybe follow you, or they're gonna go to your website, or they're gonna probably be interested in the products that you have, versus just like being so general. Yeah, I see that a lot with health and wellness, like so general.
Yeah, trying to appeal to everybody, but wellness is so nuanced that it makes sense to lean into the nuance.
Lean into it. You will reach all of the people you're looking for. Yeah.
Most definitely.
That's why I act crazy on the internet.
But that's what people love, because they love like getting to see who you are and being able to relate to you.
Like, you're not ever going to come to my page and like see like that kind of, you know, that like perfect health and wellness content. You're never going to see that. Like, that is not, because that's not my audience. I'm not looking for other people who are already like in incredible shape with 10% body fat, or, you know, like, or people who are like shop at super expensive places. Like, you're going to see me, and I like to work out at home, and that's the people that I'm talking to. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does.
So,
it definitely does. Amazing. Raven, thank you so much for being here. Do you have any classes, challenges, or anything coming up where the girlies can take Pilates with you?
Yes. September 28th, we're launching our fall program, Fall in Love with You.
Love it.
So we're kind of going back to basics. It's just 15 to 20 minutes a day with journal prompts, walking step tracker, water tracker, accountability calls, for 15 days, just to kind of set the vibe for fall going into the holidays. I feel like it's such a crazy time, and it's just a way before we get into that time to check in with yourself and start it off on a good foot. So September 28th, and we'll also have a class here in New York to kick it off too.
Gosh, amazing. Well, we'll link all of that in the show notes so that everyone can check it out. That sounds like the perfect way for everybody to get their habits back on track.
Yay. I agree.
Yay. Amazing. Thank you so much for joining me. I love this conversation.
Same. Such a yapper.
But that's what we're here for. That's what we're here for.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yay. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you enjoyed it, please make sure you leave us a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. You can also now leave comments on Spotify, which is fun. And we also have full video episodes on YouTube, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. And I will see you next week.